It doesn't look like anybody was able to hop on live tonight, but I'm going to record this because I think this will be helpful for everyone, no matter where you are in your journey and with building your business here on social media. I actually got this content. This is not my own content. This was actually from a training that I was part of by Becky Graff. So I want to give credit where credit's due, but she taught on the pathway between visibility to enrollment and really what your content does on social media. So let's start with visibility. Okay. Visibility is something that you do. You create a piece of content and you become visible, right? It can be a reel, it can be an email, a story on social media. In person, you can go to a networking event, right? That's visibility. You make yourself visible. So that's first step on social media. If you're not posting, you don't have visibility, right? Exposure is the next step. So visibility is something that you do. Exposure is when people see you or notice you. So that's the second part in the pathway of visibility to enrollment. The third is relevance, and this is messaging. So when somebody sees your content, they make a decision in a split second. Is this relevant to me? So they think, what's in it for me? They could watch your whole story or reel. They could be reading your emails. They're watching and consuming your content, but they may not take action on it, right? They may not like it. They may not comment. They may not do any of those markers, but they're consuming it, right? They're starting to track with you. The thing is, you don't necessarily know if they're in this stage, but you have to be making content and getting into exposure to get into the relevance. So they're thinking, what's in it for me? Are they seeing themselves in what you're talking about? This is a question to ask yourself when you're making content. And the next step is trust in positioning. So, why would somebody choose to respond to your content or choose to reach out to you, right? This, where trust is established, they respond or they engage, right? So, if they determine that your content is relevant to them, and then they either respond to your call to action, they comment, they make a message, they're responding and engaging. And this is where the very first part of trust is being built. Okay, because if you don't have trust, no decision is going to be made without some form of trust, right? So to go back and just recap where we've come from, visibility, you're making content. Exposure, people notice your content. Relevance is that your messaging is clear and people are actually consuming all of your content, sticking with your story. They're following you, they're tracking with you, and they're really paying attention to your content. Trust, which is the next step, is when people start responding or engaging with your content. And then after you have trust, if you have a clear offer, that's where the enrollment can come in, right? So people are trusting you, you have a clear offer to work with you on your team or buy your product, and then the decision can be made. So that's the pathway, visibility to enrollment. And the question is that we want to ask ourselves is where are you in this process? So if you're not making content regularly, you're not going to have visibility, right? And if you don't have visibility, none of these other things can happen. If you're not being consistent in your visibility, you're not going to have exposure. And if you're not going to have exposure, you're not going to have relevance. So you can actually look in, I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to look on my page here. Here we go. I'm sharing my screen right now. You can come into your dashboard and you can actually see past content. You can see all your content and how it's performing, right? So my computer's being a little bit slow. Looks like I've got 4 engagement here, 33 views, 22 viewers. You can see what posts are being viewed the most. I actually recently had a violation on Facebook, so they restricted my account some. So a lot of this is more suppressed views, but you can come in and see which posts are getting higher views and see if people are noticing your content. Obviously, you will know if somebody is responding to your content because you'll get likes and comments, right? So let's see. Yeah, right here you can see profile has some issues. We restricted your profile because as a safety measure because your activity may not follow our rules. So be careful of the rules, certain phrases you don't want to say, and that way you don't get flagged by Facebook. But check out your metrics, right? It should show you how many views you're having. And obviously, if you get comments or likes, you will know that. So as you're making content, if you're not getting enrollments right now, you need to work backwards on this, right? And say, hey, are you building trust? If you're not at the trust phase yet, are your is your social media content relevant? Are people actually watching it and following your stories, which you can see all this in your dashboard? Are you getting exposure? Again, how many views is your content getting? And then are you having visibility? That comes down to the daily posting. So if you are not having enrollments happen right now, just go ahead and ask yourself, is it a visibility issue, exposure, relevance, or trust? Where are you in that journey or that roadmap from visibility to enrollment? Where are you getting stuck? Where is the hang up? And that's where you want to focus. Hopefully, this has been helpful. I was going to go over some live questions with people tonight, but I don't think anybody was able to get on, which is fine. But the replay is here, and I will drop the link into Diamond Launch Lab. But this is my focus on Tuesday nights is to be able to help equip you, go over questions with social media content, and really help everyone get rolling in the enrollment process if building the business is really something that you want to do. Thanks so much for watching this and hit me directly in Messenger with any questions that you have. Thanks.